Princess Lyra stood quietly in the tall silver lab, her long blue cloak trailing behind her. The lab was hidden deep under the royal palace of Zira, her home planet. Only a few people in the galaxy knew this place existed. Even fewer knew what was inside it. Lyra was not like the other royals. She didn't like big dinners, boring meetings, or wearing heavy crowns. She liked science. She liked asking questions. She wanted to know about other life forms, especially the ones from a small blue planet called Earth. Humans were still a mystery to many Zirians. Some thought they were dangerous. Others thought they were weak. But Lyra didn't believe either. She believed humans had something special, something no scanner or machine could fully explain. And now, one human stood inside her lab. His name was Tom. He sat on a soft bench, calm but alert. His eyes moved around the room, watching the strange. Glowing lights and floating tools. He had been taken from Earth quietly, without harm. The team told him it was for research, and he would be safe. He didn't shout or try to escape. Instead, he asked questions. He was curious like her. Lyra stepped forward and smiled softly. "Tom, do you understand why you're here?" Tom nodded. "Your people want to study me." "More than study," she said. "We want to learn how your body adapts, how your brain thinks. You humans survive in hard places. You live with fire, storms, even cold ice. We want to understand how." Tom tilted his head. "Why not just ask?" Lyra blinked. That answer surprised her. "Ask," she repeated. "Yes," Tom said. "Talk like this. Maybe we'll both learn." Lyra smiled again, this time for real. "I like that idea. But we also use science. My people believe in testing and cloning. If we copy your body, we can study it without hurting you." Tom raised one eyebrow. "You're going to clone me?" She nodded. "Yes. Just a copy. Nothing will happen to you. The process is safe." Tom looked thoughtful. "That's wild, but okay. Just don't give me two heads or anything." Lyra laughed a soft, surprised sound. She didn't expect humor. She liked it. She walked to the center of the room. The cloning pod stood tall and clear, like a glass egg. Machines hummed and blinked around it. "Please step inside the pod," Lyra said. "It will scan your DNA, nothing else. It takes only 5 minutes." Tom stood and walked slowly to the pod. He looked at the inside, touched the smooth wall, and then stepped in. "I trust you, Princess," he said. "Even if this is the weirdest day of my life." Lyra pressed the control panel. Lights danced across the pod. Soft hum filled the air. Then everything went wrong. A loud crack echoed. Through the lab, the lights turned red. The walls shook. Sparks flew from the machines. The pod lit up too bright to see. "Shut it down," Lyra shouted, but her voice was lost in the noise. A wave of blue energy burst from the pod. It hit both Tom and Lyra. Time slowed. Her body froze. Her heart pounded. Then darkness. Lyra woke up on the lab floor. Her head ached. Her fingers trembled. The machines around her were silent, some broken. The cloning pod was open. She turned quickly. "Tom?" He sat nearby, blinking and rubbing his eyes. "I'm okay, I think." "What happened?" "I don't know," she said, standing slowly. There was an energy surge. Something overloaded. She ran to the control screen. Data was scrambled. The scan stopped halfway. The clone never formed. But the system showed something strange, a link. Between her DNA and Tom's, her breath caught. This wasn't right. Over the next few days, Lyra kept the lab closed. She told the others it was just a small failure, nothing big. No one was hurt. They believed her. But she didn't believe herself. Her body felt different, warmer, tired, yet full of energy. Her senses were sharper. Her heart beat faster around Tom. She ran tests on herself. She checked them again. Finally, she stared at the screen in silence. The answer was clear. She was pregnant with a child, and the DNA match was human Tom's. Lyra covered her mouth. She wasn't just shocked. She was afraid. Her people would never accept this. The queen would see it as betrayal. A royal daughter with a child from Earth. Impossible. She didn't know how to tell Tom. She didn't even know how to believe it herself. But the truth was growing inside her, and now her quiet experiment had changed everything. Princess Lyra sat alone in her lab, her eyes fixed on the screen. The test results blinked slowly clear, solid, and unchangeable. She had run them 5 times, maybe more, but the answer was always the same. She was pregnant, and the child inside. Her carried human DNA. Her hands trembled as she touched her stomach gently. It didn't feel real, not yet. Her thoughts spun like wild stars. How could this happen? The cloning pod was supposed to scan DNA, not mix it. But something had gone wrong, very wrong. The energy wave that hit both her and Tom must have caused it. Their cells had somehow connected during the surge. Her body had accepted human life. Now, she was carrying something completely new. She knew what this meant. If her family found out, there would be questions. There would be fear. There would be punishment. She was not just a scientist anymore. She was now the center of something much bigger, and she had no idea what to do. Tom was sitting in the garden outside the lab quarters. He stared up at the alien sky. The stars looked different here, but somehow peaceful. He didn't miss Earth as much as he thought he would. Maybe because someone here made him feel less like a stranger. He heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned and saw Lyra walking toward him. Her face looked tired. Her usual calm expression was gone. She looked ... worried. "Tom," she said quietly. He stood. "You okay? You look pale?" Or whatever the Xerian word is. Lyra tried to smile, but it faded. "We need to talk." Nodded and followed her inside. She led him to the private lab room and locked the door. The lights dimmed to a soft blue. No one else could hear them now. She turned to him slowly and took a deep breath. "Something happened during the cloning process," she began. Tom raised his eyebrow. "Yeah. I figured the whole room exploded with light." Lyra stepped closer. "The energy wave ... It connected us. More than just a scan. It joined our cells." Tom tilted his head. "What do you mean, joined?" Lyra hesitated. Then she placed her hand gently on her stomach. "I'm pregnant, Tom." Silence. Tom stared at her, frozen. "Wait, what?" Lyra nodded. "The baby ... has human and Xerian DNA. I've checked many times. The child is real." Tom sat down slowly, still staring at her. "You're saying we have a child?" "Yes," she said. "It's early, but I can feel it. I don't know how the palace will react." Tom blinked a few times. "Thought this was just a science test. Now I'm going to be a father." Lyra's voice softened. "I didn't plan this. I didn't even know this was possible." Tom looked at her, really looked at her. She was not the cool, distant princess anymore. She looked afraid, lost, human in her own way. He stood and gently said, "Okay, so ... what now?" Over the next few days, Lyra tried to hide the truth. She went to royal meetings as usual, nodded at the queen's orders, and smiled at the court officials. But inside, she was nervous every minute. Tom stayed in the science wing. Mostly quiet, reading Xerian books and learning the language. He didn't complain. He didn't ask silly questions. He waited, gave her space, and showed patience. Lyra noticed that, and she liked it. But trouble was near. One evening, Lyra was called to the queen's chamber. The queen, tall, proud, and serious, looked down at her with cold eyes. "We heard the cloning experiment failed," the queen said. "Is that true?" "Yes, mother," Lyra answered. "There was a power surge. The clone was not created." The queen narrowed her eyes. "And the human?" "He as well," Lyra replied quickly. "No harm done." The queen nodded slowly. "Good. Then it is time to return him to his planet." Lyra's heart stopped. "What?" "You heard me," the queen said. "Send him back. The research is finished." Lyra kept her face calm, but inside her chest, her heart pounded. Double quotes, "Yes, mother," she said. She walked out, breath shaking. Couldn't send Tom back. Not now. not when she was carrying his child. If they separated them, and the truth came out later, both of them could be in danger. She had to make a choice. That night, Lyra sneaked into the science wing. Tom was sitting at the table, eating a strange blue fruit. "We need to leave," she said. Tom stood up fast. "Why? What happened?" "They're sending you back to Earth, tomorrow." Tom looked surprised. "Already?" Lyra nodded. "They scan you again. They might see the energy trace. If they scan me, ... they'll find the child." Tom frowned. "So, what's the plan?" Lyra looked around the room, then back at him. "There's a small ship in the outer hangar. I can fly it. If we leave tonight, we can reach the outer stars. The palace won't follow us there." Tom's eyes locked with hers. "You want me to come with you?" Lyra's voice was firm. "I don't want to go alone." Tom was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. "All right, let's go." The two moved quickly through the dark palace halls. Lyra wore a hood. Tom followed closely. They passed sleeping guards, empty rooms, and quiet halls. At the outer gate, she pressed her palm to the scanner. The doors slid open. The ship was small and silver, shaped like a bird. Powered it up. Tom sat beside her, strapping in. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "No," she said, "but I know what's behind us. And I want to find what's ahead." The ship lifted into the sky. Stars opened before them like a wide road. Behind them, the palace grew smaller and smaller until it vanished. "Into space?" Lyra looked at Tom. He smiled at her gently. "Ready to find a new future?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, for all three of us." The small silver ship moved quickly through the dark sky of Zyra. Stars blinked in the distance like quiet watchers. Inside the ship, Princess Lyra sat in the pilot's seat. Her eyes focused, her hands steady on the controls. Beside her sat Tom. He looked out the window with wide eyes. He had never seen space like this. Earth's skies were beautiful, but Zyra's galaxy was strange and full of glowing clouds, spinning rings, floating ice fields. Neither of them spoke for the first. A few minutes, the silence was not cold, it was heavy, filled with thought. Finally, Tom broke it. "Did anyone see us leave?" Lyra shook her head. "No. The palace guards are not watching the outer hangar closely. They think I would never run, but you did," Tom said softly. "I had to," Lyra replied. "For you." Tom nodded slowly. He still could not believe what was happening. A week ago, he was on Earth, working a simple job, walking his dog, watching the sky. Now he was in a spaceship, running away with a pregnant alien princess. He turned to look at Lyra. "Do you know where we're going?" "Yes," she said. "There is a moon station near the edge of the Zyrian system. It's not owned by the palace. Many travelers stop there. Some are from Earth, some are from other worlds. We can hide there. Is it safe?" he asked. "It's not dangerous," she said, "but it's not perfect. We'll have to live simply." Tom smiled. Simple is good. After 5 hours of flying, they reached the small moon station. It floated above a quiet green planet. The station was shaped like a circle with small lights around its edge. Ships came and went. No one asked questions. It was the rule here. Lyra docked the ship and turned off the engine. "This is it," she said. They stepped out together. The air on the station was cool. Many different beings walked around, tall, short, with wings, with tails, with silver eyes and glowing skin. No one stared at them. No one cared. That was good. Lyra found a small room to rent. It had one bed, one table, and a small window. It wasn't royal, but it was enough. Tom sat on the bed and looked around. "Not bad," he said. Lyra sat beside him, quiet. "What are you thinking?" Tom asked. "That I've never lived like this before," she said. "No guards, no walls, no rules. Do you like it?" he asked. Lyra thought for a moment. "Yes, I think I do," in the days that followed. Lyra and Tom began a simple life on the moon station. Tom found a small job at a repair shop, fixing small machines. He was good with his hands, and people liked his calm voice and honest work. He used the money to buy food and supplies. Lyra stayed in the room most of the time, resting and studying her health. Her body was changing. The child was growing. Felt strange and new, but not painful. Sometimes she walked outside and watched the stars. She wondered if her mother, the queen, had sent ships to find her. Maybe they were searching. Maybe they had given up. She didn't know, but she knew one thing. She didn't want to go back. One evening, Tom returned from work with a small gift. It was a necklace made from simple stones, shaped into a flower. He held it out. "I saw this, and thought of you." Lyra smiled and took it gently. "It's beautiful." She looked at him, and for a long moment, they just sat there, quiet. Then she said, "You're not like other humans." Tom laughed. "How many humans do you know?" "Just one," she said. "But I'm glad it's you." They laughed together. The room felt warm, even without sunlight. But peace never stays forever. One morning, as Lyra went to the market alone, she noticed a tall figure watching her, wore dark clothes and carried a small scanner. When she turned to leave, he followed. She walked faster. Her heart beat quickly. She turned down a small alley and stopped. The man followed. "Princess Lyra," he said in a low voice. "You've been found." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" "A bounty hunter," he replied. "Sent by your mother." "Not going back," Lyra said firmly. "I'm not here to take you by force," he said. "I only want proof. Is it true?" "What do you mean?" He raised his scanner. "The child, the human. Is it true?" Lyra stood tall. "Yes, it's true." The bounty hunter nodded once. "That's all I needed." He turned and left without another word. Lyra stood frozen. "What just happened?" She hurried back to the room and told Tom everything. "They know," she said. "My mother knows, and now the whole galaxy might know." That evening, news spread across the moon station. A secret video was shared from a hidden source. It showed a short clip of Lyra's scan, her voice saying the child was human. People whispered. Some were shocked. Others were curious. A few even smiled. For the first time, Tom and Lyra felt eyes watching them, but something strange also happened. A family from another planet brought flowers. A traveler from Earth offered kind words. A doctor from a nearby ship said, "This child is special. You are not alone." The news had spread, but it didn't bring hate. It brought hope. As Tom sat beside Lyra that night, he placed a hand gently on her belly. "Do you think your mother will come herself?" he asked. Maybe, Lyra whispered. Or maybe... Shh. Wait to see what the universe thinks. Tom nodded. "And what do you think?" Lyra smiled and looked out the window at the stars. "I think something new has begun." The moon station floated quietly in the far corner of the Xerian galaxy. Here, in this forgotten place, Lyra and Tom tried to build a new life. Weeks passed. Lyra no longer wore her princess robes. She now dressed like the people around her, simple shirts, soft cloaks, and strong boots. Her long silver hair was tied back, and her hands had learned the small tasks of daily life, cooking, cleaning, shopping, and fixing small things. She was learning how to live like a common person, and for the first time in her life, she liked it. Tom worked every day at the repair shop, enjoyed fixing broken gadgets and strange tools from other worlds. He was fast, careful, and kind. Customers liked him. He saved every coin he earned and brought back food, clothes, and sometimes small gifts. Each evening, Tom and Lyra sat near the window, watching the stars. "Do you miss Earth?" Lyra asked one night. Tom smiled. "Sometimes. I miss trees, my dog, and the smell of rain. But being here with you is more than enough." Lyra looked down at her stomach, now gently rounded. "She's growing fast." Tom leaned closer. "Do you think it's a girl?" "I don't know," Lyra said. "But I feel like she listens when I speak." Tom laughed. "Maybe she already understands both our worlds." They fell into silence, calm and happy, as the stars glowed softly beyond the glass. But peace on the station was never certain. More people began arriving, each day traders, travelers, and strange guests. Everyone had heard the news. The story of the pregnant alien princess and the human father had spread across nearby systems. Some came to see. Some came to ask questions. Few came with kind hearts. One family from the water planet Telos brought Lyra a smooth blue stone. For strength, the Telos woman said. It's given to mothers in our world. A pair of travelers from Earth recognized Tom and shook his hand. You're making history, my friend, one said. But not everyone was kind. A few visitors spoke behind their backs. That's unnatural, one alien whispered. Can their child even survive? Another asked. Lyra heard the words. They stung, but she stayed quiet. Tom always placed a hand on her shoulder. Ignore them, he said gently. It be fear what they don't understand. Still there. Quiet life began to feel heavy. Watching over her shoulder, walking faster through markets, and closing the curtains at night became daily habits. Then one day a message arrived. It came through a small device that Tom used to check news updates. The screen lit up with a glowing royal symbol. Message from Queen Zarala of Zira. The device announced. Tom froze. Lyra walked over slowly and sat beside him. Together they watched the screen. The queen's face appeared. Her voice was strong and cold. To my daughter, Princess Lyra, she said. You have shamed the royal house by leaving. But worse than that, you carry a child that could change everything. She paused. Her eyes narrowed. Still, I will not send soldiers after you. Let the galaxy decide. Let the people judge what you have done. The message ended. Tom looked at Lyra. What does that mean? It means she wants the public to choose, Lyra replied. She won't come for me with force, but she hopes others will turn against us. That night, Lyra sat in bed holding her stomach. She whispered soft words in her native language. She wasn't sure if the baby could hear, but it made her feel close to the child. Tom sat across the room, quiet. Then he stood and walked over to her. I've been thinking, he said. You left your palace, your family, and everything you knew. You did all of that. For our child. Lyra looked up at him. Yes, and I would do it again. Tom knelt beside her. Then maybe it's time we stop hiding. Lyra frowned. What do you mean? Let's talk to the galaxy. He said, tell them our story. Not through secret messages or strange rumors. Let them see us. Hear us. Understand us. Lyra was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. Yes, if we hide, the world only sees fear. But if we speak, they might see hope. 2 days later, with help from a friendly trader, Lyra and Tom set up a small broadcast. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't royal. Just one camera, one screen, and their simple room. Lyra sat in front of the lens. Her eyes were calm. Her hands rested on her growing belly. I am Princess Lyra of Zira, she began. You all know my name now. But maybe you don't know my heart. She told the story from the beginning, the science test, the energy wave, the surprise, the fear, and the choice to leave. She spoke of her child. She spoke of love. She spoke of change. This child, she said, is not a danger. She is not a mistake. She is the future made from 2 different worlds, brought together not by force, but by trust. Tom spoke next, kept his words simple. I didn't plan any of this, he said, but I care about Lyra, and I will stand by her. Always. The message ended. They sent it to every open network now. All they could do was wait. The next morning, the stars outside the windows seemed brighter. The moon station buzzed with soft voices. People watched the message. Some cried, some clapped. Some still stayed silent, but something had changed. That afternoon, a group of Zirian students knocked on the door. One girl handed Lyra a small book for your child, she said. So she can read both your language and ours. Later, an old man from Earth came to fix the broken lights in their room. No charge, he said. Just thanks for your courage. One by one, strangers became friends. And for the first time, Lyra didn't feel like she was hiding. She felt seen. She felt safe. That night, Tom looked out at the stars and said, Do you think the Queen saw it? Lyra nodded. She saw it, And now, the galaxy has two. The message from Lyra and Tom traveled faster than they expected. In just 2 days, it had reached dozens of space stations, colonies, and even parts of Earth. It was played in schools, on news screens, and in public squares. People everywhere saw the princess sitting quietly, speaking from the heart, her hands resting on her belly. They saw the human man beside her, honest and calm. Some people were shocked. Some were confused, but many were inspired. On Zyra, the royal court watched in silence. Ministers whispered behind closed doors. News reporters argued on live broadcasts. The Queen Zarala stood in her high chamber, her face unreadable. She said nothing for a long time. One of her advisors spoke gently, "Your Majesty, the people are reacting. It's differently than we expected. Many are not angry. Some are even calling her brave." The Queen turned toward the large window. She looked out over the city of shining towers and quiet skies. "Send a message," she said at last. "Call for the council. This must be discussed." Back on the moon station, Lyra felt the change in the air. The market people greeted her with warmer smiles. A teacher from a nearby school invited her to speak about Zyrian culture. A human artist asked to paint her portrait. Still, she remained careful. She knew attention could be a gift or a danger. Tom tried to stay positive. "People are learning," he said. "That's a good thing." Lyra agreed, but a part of her still feared what might come next. Her child was growing faster. Now Zyrian babies developed quickly in the womb, and the mixed DNA seemed to speed it up more. Lyra felt stronger and more tired each day. Tom often helped her walk, held her hand when she needed rest, and cooked simple meals using Earth recipes, he remembered. One evening, as they sat by the window again, Lyra whispered, "Do you think the Queen will answer?" "She already has," Tom said. "She's just waiting for the right moment." That moment came 3 days later. A new message appeared on every open screen across the system. It was from Queen Zarela herself. She stood in a grand hall, wearing her royal robes, her voice clear and powerful. "I have watched the message sent by my daughter," she began. "I have seen the child, the human, and the truth. I do not deny it." Lyra and Tom watched silently from their room. The Queen continued, "Our people fear change. But fear is not always the answer. This child, my grandchild, is a sign that the future is already here." She paused. "So I offer this. Princess Lyra and the human Tom may return to Zyra, not as criminals, but as guests. The child will be studied, yes, but with care and respect. I will not stop what has already begun." The message ended. Lyra sat in shock. She accepted it. Tom smiled. Maybe she finally understands. Lyra wasn't sure. Or maybe she just wants to control the story. The next day, a Zyrian ship arrived at the moon station. It carried no weapons. Only 3 diplomats came out, wearing peaceful robes. They brought a simple request. Would Lyra and Tom come back home? Tom looked at Lyra. "What do you want to do?" Lyra thought for a long moment. "I want to speak," she said. "Not just to the Queen, to everyone. If this child is truly a sign of the future, then let the whole galaxy see it with open eyes." They boarded the ship 2 days later. As they left the moon station, many friends came to say goodbye. The Telos family gave her another blue stone for protection. The human artist handed her the painting, showing her holding a child with glowing eyes. Even the old engineer gave them a repaired music player as a gift. "You gave us hope," he said. "That's more than most leaders do." Lyra felt her heart grow full. The ship moved quietly through space, back toward Zyra. When they arrived, the royal city looked the same: tall towers, flying crafts, clean roads. But something felt different. There were more people in the streets, more cameras, more voices. The city was waiting. The Queen welcomed them at the palace gates. Her face was still cold, but her voice was softer than before. "Welcome back, Lyra, and Tom." Tom gave a polite bow. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The Queen led them into the royal hall. Inside stood the High Council, made of leaders, scientists, and elders. The hall was full, and a broadcast camera stood in the back. Lyra and Tom stood before them, side by side. The queen turned to the crowd. "Let them speak." Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was steady. "I did not plan this," she began. "I did not know what would happen that day in the lab. But I do not regret it. This child inside me is part of me, part of something greater." She paused, placing her hand on her stomach. "She is proof that our people and humans can come together, not in fear, not in war, but in life." Some in the crowd nodded. Others whispered. Tom spoke next. "We are different, but we're also the same. We care. We feel. We hope." "Maybe that's enough." The queen stood silently watching everything. Then she spoke. "I will not stop this union," she said, "but I will also not hide it. The galaxy must decide what it believes. Let this child grow not in shadows but in the light." After the meeting, Lyra and Tom were given a small house near the royal gardens. It wasn't part of the palace, but it was close enough to keep them protected. Scientists were allowed to visit only if they asked, and only if Lyra said yes. They lived quietly, but no longer in fear. Children sent letters. Artists made songs. People from many worlds began to speak of unity, peace, and family. The name of the unborn child was whispered everywhere. They called her Hope. One night, as Tom and Lyra sat together under the silver trees, Lyra placed her head on Tom's shoulder. "Do you think she changed the world?" she asked softly. Tom smiled. Months passed quietly on planet Zira. The royal city was still full of light, its tall towers and flying ships, but something had changed. People talked more kindly. News stories were more hopeful. And in every corner of the city they spoke of one coming event: the birth of the first child born from a human and a Zirian. Tom and Lyra now lived in a small white house near the royal gardens. Flowers bloomed in every color, and birds with golden wings sang from the trees. It was peaceful, and that peace helped Lyra rest as her belly grew larger each week. Tom stayed by her side every day.
Ow.
He learned how to cook Zirian food, made warm teas to help with her tiredness, and read books to her at night. Sometimes he read in English, sometimes in Zirian. Lyra said the baby moved more when he spoke. "She already knows your voice," Lyra told him one evening, smiling. Tom touched her stomach gently. "And maybe she knows yours better." Lyra laughed softly. "Maybe she knows we're both here, and that we love her." The queen did not visit often, but she stayed in contact. She sent doctors, teachers, and gifts, though her face was still serious. Her words were no longer sharp. "This child may change everything," she told her council, "and that means we must change too." Some leaders agreed, others still had doubts. But none dared stop what had begun. One morning before sunrise, Lyra woke suddenly. A strange pain moved through her body. She sat up, breathing fast. "Tom?" He opened his eyes quickly. "What's wrong, I think? It's time," she said, holding her stomach. Tom jumped out of bed and pressed the emergency button. Within minutes, doctors arrived in a quiet medical vehicle. They carefully helped Lyra onto a floating bed and took her to the royal birth chamber, quiet place under the palace. Filled with soft lights and calm music, Tom held her hand the entire time. Lyra's face showed pain, but her eyes stayed. "Strong, I'm here," Tom said again and again. "You're not alone." After hours of labor, a sound broke the room's silence, a soft, beautiful cry. The doctor smiled. "It's a girl," one said. They placed the small baby into Lyra's arms. She had soft brown skin, silver hair like Lyra, and eyes that glowed gently in the light. The mix of two worlds. Tom looked at her with wide eyes. "She's perfect." Lyra's voice trembled with joy. "Hello, little one," arrived. Later that day, she stepped quietly into the room, dressed in light robes, instead of her usual armor. She stood beside the bed and looked at the child. "She looks strong," the queen said. Tom stood beside Lyra. "Would you like to hold her?" The queen hesitated. Then slowly she reached out and took the child into her arms. For the first time in many years, her expression softened. "She is both of us." the queen whispered. And something more. Lyra nodded. Her name is Hope. The announcement was shared across the galaxy. Hope is born. Photos of the baby spread from one planet to another. Artists painted her. Poets wrote verses. Scientists requested to study her DNA. Lyra politely said no. People sent gifts, books, toys, small music boxes, even a tree seed from Earth. Everywhere people talked about her. On Earth, news stations called her the Child of Peace. On Zira, they called her the Star Daughter. And on other planets, they simply called her Hope. Life was not always easy, even after the birth. Some people still feared change. A few said the child was unnatural. A few others said she should not be part of royal blood. But those voices grew smaller as Hope grew stronger. She learned quickly. Her mind was sharp. She spoke her first words at 5 months, walked by 7, and began asking questions by her. First birthday, why do stars move? She asked, why do some people have tails? She asked, why am I different? Lyra smiled and answered every question with care. You are different, she said, but that makes you special, not strange. Tom often picked Hope up, twirled her in the air, and whispered, you're our miracle. Hope giggled every time. By the time she turned to, people from across the galaxy sent requests to meet her. But Lyra and Tom said no to most. She's still a child, Tom told the queen. Let her grow like one. Surprisingly, the queen agreed. Let her be free, she said. The world will meet her when she's ready. One day, when Hope was about 3, something strange happened. She was playing in the garden, chasing light bugs, when her body glowed softly for a few seconds. Just a faint blue light, like the energy wave from the lab long ago. Tom and Lyra saw it. Their eyes widened. Did you see that? Tom whispered. Lyra nodded. It's starting. The energy inside her, part human, part Zirian, was waking up. Something new was forming. They took Hope to a quiet lab and ran simple tests. Nothing harmful, just to check. The results were strange. Her body had both human and Zirian energy lines. But they didn't just mix, they balanced. She had perfect control. No damage. No harm. Her cells worked together in a way no one had seen before. She's stable, the doctor said. No sickness. No danger. She's advanced. That night, as Hope slept, Lyra and Tom sat beside her bed. She's not just our daughter, Lyra said softly. She's a symbol. Tom nodded. Of what's possible. They held hands and watched her breathe. Hope, the child born from science, love, and courage, was already becoming a bridge between 2 worlds, and her journey had only just begun. Hope was no longer a baby. She was a bright, curious child of 5 years, full of questions and laughter. Her silver hair shone like the stars, and her eyes held the quiet wisdom of someone much older. Lyra and Tom watched her play in the garden of their home, near the palace. The flowers bent gently in the soft breeze, and birds sang their sweet songs. Mom, why do the stars dance at night? Hope asked, looking up. Lyra smiled and picked her up. 'Cause the stars have stories to tell, stories of old times and new beginnings. Tom joined them, wrapping an arm around Lyra's shoulder. And now, you are part of that story. Hope giggled. Me? A star? You are more than that, Tom said. We're a bridge between 2 worlds. Life on Zyra had changed since Hope was born. The royal court was kinder, more open. The queen, once strict and distant, had softened. She often visited Hope and even told stories of old Zirian legends. The people had started to accept the idea of unity between humans and Zirians. Schools taught about other planets and people. New friendships were made. The galaxy was growing smaller and kinder. Hope's birth had become a symbol of that change. But change is never easy. Some groups still resisted. They whispered in dark corners, saying that mixing species was wrong. They feared the unknown. One day, a group of such rebels came close to the palace gates. They shouted slogans, holding signs that said, "Keep Zira pure," and "No human blood in royalty." Lyra and Tom heard the noise. They stood together, watching the crowd from their window. Hope, sitting on Lyra's lap, looked up and asked, "Mom, why are some people angry?" Lyra hugged her tight. "Sometimes people are afraid, they don't understand. But that's why we must show them kindness and patience." Tom nodded. "And hope." The Queen called a meeting with the leaders of the galaxy. She invited people from all planets, including Earth. "We face challenges," she said, "but we must stand together. Hope is our future." Lyra spoke to us. She told the story again, the science, the surprise, and the love that created hope. Many listened with respect, some still doubted, but most believed. Hope grew quickly. She showed signs of special abilities. She could understand many languages, heal small injuries, and calm animals with a touch. Scientists were amazed. They said she was the perfect blend of two species, carrying the best of both. But Hope was just a child. She loved playing with friends, painting stars, and listening to stories. One evening, under the twin moons of Zira, Hope asked her parents, "Will I be a queen someday?" Lyra smiled and said, "You can be anything you want. But more important than titles, be kind." Tom added, "You will lead by your heart." Hope nodded, eyes shining. Years passed. Hope became a young woman, strong and wise. She traveled between planets, learning about her two worlds. People loved her for her courage and kindness. One day, she stood before the people of Zira and Earth, speaking with confidence. "We are not so different," she said. "Together, we can build a better future." Her words echoed across the galaxy, and so, from a simple experiment gone wrong, from an energy wave that changed everything, came a new beginning. Hope, the child of two worlds, became a symbol of unity, courage, and love. She showed that no matter where we come from, the future belongs to those who dare to hope.